This could be the best week of astrology of all of 2024. It's also ReWilding week. This is so crazy good, you all. This astrology, it is, let me feel, I want to speak from the heart today. It is benevolent. It is expansive. It is grace bombing. It's like finally the gods are smiling down on us and they're like, hey, you've really gotten a lot of fire to the face. You've gotten a lot of lessons. I've made things really challenging for you for the last little while. And now I'm going to put the sun at your face and the wind at your back. So it's smooth sailing here. Fall into this slipstream and let me carry you down the river of destiny into paradise. So just that. I am really glad that ReWilding week, the ReWilding challenge, is lining up with the energetics of this week. Y'all, I can't even imagine anything being more perfect than this. It's so good. Okay, let me feel. Here's what I want to do in this video, just so you know what's coming. I want to give you kind of day by day, starting with the 13th, going to the 19th. I want to give you everything. To give you everything, partially because it is ReWilding week, and also just because what I feel that's possible during this week, I don't feel is possible in other weeks. It's like what we can do in this energy, we can't do in other energy, right? Like what we can break through. This is a word I love for this week, is breakthrough. What we can break through, break out of, break into. Just feel into that. Break through, break out of, break into. What we can break into this week is something that we maybe couldn't break into last week and we can't break into next week. But we've got this window of time where we can break into something. Break out of something, break through something. So feel into that. And here's practice number 1 for this week is feel into, I'm breaking through what? And then you can maybe just like journal, like free flow, right? Have a conversation with a soul friend, go for a walk with that question, meditate on that question, take a shamanic journey into the underworld on that question, whatever supports you, whatever practices you kind of have to get deeper into self, to get into like true self. What am I breaking through? And then the question, what am I breaking into? Like, I'm breaking through old family patterns and I'm breaking into healthier relationships. I'm breaking through limited beliefs around my sexuality and I'm breaking into, oh my gosh, like healthy, healed, like high level sacred sexual expression. I'm breaking out of patterns of shame and victim, and I'm breaking into patterns of limitlessness. I'm breaking into patterns of worthiness. I'm breaking into patterns of self-love. Things like that. That's this energy. Isn't that amazing? It's stunning. It's stunning what's possible this week. So if I can just say something before I dive into like the aspects and we dive into the 18th, which is a crazy great day. Like the 18th is like one of the possibly greatest days of the whole year. The astrology is so good, followed up by the 19th. Like it's just like bang, bang, so good. Before I get into all of that, just some like overall things for the week to feel into. What would support you this week? Just feel into whatever it is, but like changing up your patterns can really support you. Trying something new. This week kicks off with Uranus conjunct the sun. Again, I'll dive into that deeper. What does that mean? But it's like what will really help us is pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt. We're breaking out of old constraints, old I hate that. That sounds boring. Just break through. Like what do you need to break through? Pattern interrupt really helps. A breakup in routine really helps. So feel into that. How can I shake things up? Like you want to shake things up this week. Think about shaking things up. Shake things up in your relationship. Maybe you go on a date night. On a day you wouldn't go on a date night. Maybe you go somewhere where you haven't gone before. Maybe you try some sort of like a new fitness thing, like I went mountain biking yesterday. I haven't gone mountain biking in a really long time. I fucking love mountain biking. And it was like this breakthrough. Like it was this like breakthrough and like, oh my God, yes. I forgot about this crazy competitive, like Mars athlete warrior in me, you know, and I'm just competing against myself really, but it was glorious. So feel into what supports you breaking through. What supports you breaking through? And it's Taurus. So there's a lot of energy in Taurus. And so feeling into like grounded, earthy ways that help you break through. Doesn't that sound strange? I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the energy. It's like, it's still grounded, it's still earthy, and we're still breaking through. So a lot of people are like, isn't like fire the breakthrough energy, or air, or anything but earth? Like even water, isn't that more breakthrough? No. Like feel into what helps you break through, but it's like helping you break through in the embodied way. In the embodied way, it's like we're not breaking through beyond the body, we're breaking through with the body. So take the body with you. Take your physical world with you. Isn't that, I know this sounds like, Sabrina, I have no idea how to do that. Well, join the challenge. I'll show you. I'll join the challenge. It's totally embodied. We will so do that. We will break through via the whole of ourselves. We bring the whole of ourselves through the breakthrough. It's not just like a mental breakthrough, but then life doesn't change, or a spiritual breakthrough, and then your life doesn't change, or your mindset doesn't change, or your body doesn't change. It's like we take the whole thing through the breakthrough, right? So it ripples into every aspect of life, every aspect of self. Join the challenge. I'll show you exactly how to do that. It's totally free. It's open to anyone and everyone. It's our way of loving it forward, paying it back, loving it forward, and just like giving good stuff out into the world, because that is what lights us up. Okay, let me feel if there's anything else overall for this week in this energy. Lean toward the positive. Lean toward the positive. Keep leaning toward, we have like that dial. There's some weeks where it's like, don't spiritually bypass by being like blowing sunshine up your butt or blowing sunshine up someone else's butt. Then you'll miss the magic, but the magic is actually in turning toward optimism, turning toward positivity, turning toward limitlessness, turning toward unlimited potentials, turning toward magic, miraculous. Turn toward the miraculous. This is a week of the miraculous. It is the week where the miraculous is not outside of you. It is not outside of your life. It is not outside of the scope of what is possible. It's so there. So that's the other thing I would recommend about this week, is turning toward the miraculous. I like that word miraculous because that helps us to stay in that expanded, limitless place, which is what this week is about. Okay. All right. Let me feel for what will serve next. God, I just want to say I love you all. I want to say that I love you all, and I'm crazy grateful to be here with you all. Crazy grateful for our ReWilding community. Grateful that we get to do these things together, like podcast or YouTube video or the challenge. I know 60% of our community is already signed up for the challenge along with their friends and family. So if you haven't yet, get in there, just come check it out. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain, right? It's like name and email. It gets you in to a whole weekend of rewilding. It's 6 hours of live rewilding, good and proper rewilding. It's not talking and conversations like this. It's the deep diving. It's where the magic happens. It's the shamanic tantric embodied archetypal activations, transmissions. It's that. It's that. It's the, let me feel. It's like soul alchemy. All right. Let's go day by day. Let's start. Let's kick this thing off. All right. Monday on the 13th, we have Mercury comes out of shadow. So Mercury was still in his retrograde phase. Yes, he was direct, but he was still in that integration shadow phase. We get released on Monday. This in itself is a breakthrough. It's a releasing from not just that Mercury retrograde, but that Mercury retrograde was very chironic. It was so wounded healer. It was very eclipse. Let's hide things to reveal things, right? Let's do the deep karmic work. This was a really intense Mercury retrograde. I don't know that I've seen a Mercury retrograde that was this shadow diving, this deep, this excavating, this challenging. It was challenging. It was in Eris, so it was all about self. Mercury sets free on Monday. Also on Monday, the sun conjoins Uranus. Monday is like freedom. It is like freedom of self. You are set free. Lean into that, right? Like we're set free. Sun conjunct Uranus. What does that mean? Uranus is the great awakener. The great awakener. Linked to Kundalini, like miraculous. So remember I said keep leaning toward the miraculous. Kundalini is seemingly like miraculous things can happen when people awaken to this energy in the body, to this like life force flavor of sacred energy in the body, right? This divine feminine, this divine wisdom that flows through the body, that flows, and it doesn't have to be feminine, by the way. That's just a way of talking about a way of accessing this energy in the body. But it's like Uranus, the great awakener, the liberator. It's liberator, right? Liberator is combining with the conscious self. Y'all, this is so good. This is so good. Remember, we just had that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction? And everyone was like, oh, this is going to be so grace-filled. It's going to be so like bliss bombing, so good, like so expansive. But it was hard for a lot of people. It was hard because that was like the big like bomb going off, right? It was like the getting struck by lightning. Now this week is when we can actually bring it in. This week we actually bring it in. So the sun, this is on the 18th. Remember I said the 18th, that's Saturday, is so crazy good. By the way, that's day 2 of the challenge. Now we get to work in it. It's so good. I know. All right. So the sun on Monday is conjunct Uranus, and then on Saturday is conjunct Jupiter. So this is like the self, sun, self, conscious self, ego self. Don't think ego bad. Think ego structure. This is me and this is you, right? It's in that sort of a state, that sort of a framework. This is what I'm aware of myself when I say Sabrina, right? When I say Sabrina, what I am aware of, what I am conscious of. One, I hit the Great Awakener, which was what was part of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, right? The Great Awakener. I hit Uranus on Monday. On Saturday, I hit Jupiter. It's like now the self can finally embody the magic that happened from that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We get to embody everything that went on during eclipse season, everything that went on during that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, everything that went on over the last 2 months. We get to embody it this week. We get to bring it in. And the more that we can consciously work with it, the more that we get to bring it into our lives, the more that we actually get to make physical change happen. We get to manifest it. The more that we get to manifest it, this is crazy good, y'all. Embodiment practices, it's all happening in Taurus. This is bringing the magic into the body, through the body, and into life, right? Embody it and express it out into our lives. I can't even imagine what's going to happen for you all this week, right? Especially if you're working in it. We're going to obviously work in it in the challenge. All of this energy is what we're working in the challenge. So I can support you if you want. It might not be for you. You're like, I don't know, crazy lady, not for me. Totally respect that. Totally respect that if you've got your own embodiment practices or own ways of lining up with some of this stuff, do those. Okay. So the third thing that's happening on Monday, we're not even past Monday yet, is Venus is in a sextile to Saturn. What does that mean? That's a good positive aspect. Venus, our Venusian side. What is our Venusian side of self? If we were going to embody Venus, right? We were going to awaken, open up to the Venusian part of you. You start to awaken to goddess of love and beauty. Just feel into that. And then like my whole body starts to get like soft and flowy. And I feel like, I don't know, like love and joy and pleasure. Like I just want pleasure and I want to be radiant. Like I want to be so radiant and I want pleasure and I want connection and I want love and I want relationship and I want like the good things. I want to go shopping and I want to eat chocolate, right? And this is a part of self. This is a part of self that brings so much love. This is a part of self that brings so much joy. This is a part of self that a lot of us, like if we had more of this, or if we gave ourselves more time for this, we'd probably feel more pleasure. We'd have more orgasms for sure. We would feel more pleasure. We would have more orgasms. We would feel the joy that we're oftentimes looking for, and we'd probably be more radiant. It's just we would shine more light if we gave this aspect of self more room, right? Okay, a tiny little digression, but maybe do some Venusian practices this week. I am sure we're going to do some in the challenge, by the way. There's another awesome alignment happening with Venus on the weekend, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But the weekend is when we're doing the challenge. So we'll definitely be bringing Venus into that. So if like more pleasure, more joy, more love, more intimacy, more relationship flow, relationship dynamics, just being like good, the full heart feeling, if any of that sings to you. Also aliveness and radiance, just feeling alive and more life force flowing through ourselves. Venus helps to awaken that. So if any of that sings to you, you definitely want to get in on this challenge. All right. So Venus in a sextile to Saturn. I love this. I do. I really, really love this. And here's what I love about it. It's because Saturn invites us to bring it down and through the whole of ourselves. Saturn is incredibly aligned with manifesting. It's incredibly aligned with bringing it into reality, bring it into the body, bring it into your life, bring it into your love life, bring it into your relationship, bring it into your career, bring it into your job, bring it in. That's what Saturn wants, reality. And Venus is like, okay, yes, love and beauty. And Saturn's like, not just in yoga class, in life, in relationship, in the shower in the morning when you're singing, while you're walking down the street, bringing it in. I love that. I love this aspect. And know that this isn't just happening on Monday. So maybe you're watching this on Wednesday. This is kind of all week, right? So you can feel into this, tap into this, lean into this, kind of the whole week. It's not just like, oh, quick, one and done, like it's gone. It peaks and it's really powerful on that day, but it's not like it's not on the days before and the days after. Okay, I want to move on because I don't want to get too stuck in that. Let me just feel if there's anything else. Here's something else. I do want to just mention this as an energy for the week with this Saturn-Venus sextile is grounding in our values also. Venus can bring about our values, right? She can really bring up our value system. So like grounding in our values and feel into newer and truer values, upgraded value system. What is true for you today is maybe different than what was true for you a year ago, right? And so grounding in our values, also deepening into our relationships, like long-term. Saturn brings long-term. I do love this. So there's all this newer and truer energy, right? This breakthrough energy. But what Saturn brings is he brings, let's build for the long term. Let's build for the long term. Whatever you're creating, whatever you're manifesting, whatever seeds you're planting right now, Uranus is a seed planter, right? Whatever seeds you're planting, build it for the long term. Build it for the long term. Let's do long-term pleasure, Venus, long-term joy, Venus, long-term love, long-term relationships, long-term support systems, right? That's what Saturn's bringing in also. And I love that this energy is a part of ReWilding Week. It's a part of ReWilding Challenge. All right. So let's move on. Moving into Wednesday. Wednesday's kind of the next day to talk about things. Mercury moves into Taurus on Wednesday. So remember this Mercury thing? Mercury's out of his shadow, kind of like breaking free. Now he moves into Taurus. So he's changing signs. He's been in Eris for a long time because he went retrograde, then he had to go in, Taurus. So now it's like another breakthrough. It's another break free, another breakthrough, another shift. It's like what's been going on for the last 2 months. Okay. And we get to shift. There's an interesting thing going on with Mercury, though. So remember, Mercury is the mind, mercurial. It's the mind. We're very identified with Mercury. So some of us can feel this shift. We don't know it, but we'll start thinking differently. So instead of thinking in like fast-paced Aries, like, right? And Aries can be really quick. It's fire, right? And you just go really fast, but it can sometimes skate over the surface. It sometimes doesn't go deep enough, right? And so what happens is Taurus helps the mind to like, and we're gonna slow it down and we're gonna deepen it in. We're gonna ground it in, right? Can you feel that? That's the shift. And it's beautiful for this embodying it, for this making it manifest, for this bringing it into our lives, and for breaking through, right? It's for breaking through in a sustainable, long-lasting change kind of a way, because Aries can break through, but doesn't take everything with it, right? And so Aries kind of broke through. All of that was like shake up to wake up, all that Aries over the last 2 months. And now it's like, and here is where the rubber hits the road. Here is where we make it manifest. Here's where we bring it in. Okay, let's keep going. This is a little thing, can pop up for us, so I want to talk about it. Ceres, who's Demeter, great mother. She brings up mother. She goes retrograde on Wednesday. There's another aspect with her on Thursday where she squares Chiron. I know, you're like, come on, Sabrina. This is supposed to be like the most benevolent, grace-filled, grace-bombing, glorious week. It is, but something that might pop up that could help you break through, that could help with all of this auspicious, grace-bombing, expansive gloriousness is a little bit of inner child work, a little bit of mother wounding, and even possibly father wounding. So feel into mother wounding, father wounding, inner child wounding. Some of that can come up, but think about it like this. It's like I'm breaking free of family patterns. I'm breaking free of this inner child wound that's preventing me from having the greatest sex life that I could possibly have. I'm letting go of safety, security patterns I created in childhood. And that's changing my belief system about myself, which is helping me into greater levels of self-love. I'm breaking out of my sibling pattern as a young one and into a newer and truer way of seeing the world, of seeing friends, of seeing colleagues. I no longer am like middle child syndrome or oldest child syndrome or youngest child syndrome. I'm moving out of that. So this can be part of our breakthrough. Some of this could be triggering, could be triggery, could be bubbling up to the surface, and give it some space, but give it some space and keep leaning to, what is this showing me? How is this helping me break through? How is this helping me? What am I breaking into? What am I breaking out of? And feel into family patterning, ancestral patterning, mother-father wounding, inner child patterning. What am I breaking into? This leads me to the other interesting, deep diving, shadow working aspect that I love. I do. I know. And that happens on Friday. But before we get there, and of course it has to do with Pluto, the great transformer, right? The Pluto. Like if you've been hanging out with ReWilding for any length of time, you will know how much I love Pluto. He is the evolutionary, right? It's evolutionary. It's karmic. He is like the soul point, one of them. One of the top 3, I would say, in your astrology chart or in astrology. He is evolutionary soul point for us and powerful. And he's also considered great transformer, but great transformer from the depths. So if we were talking about the sun as conscious self hitting Uranus, right? Remember that on Monday, conscious self hits Uranus, the great awakener. So it's the great awakener of conscious self. Pluto is like the great transformer of unconscious self. Great transformer of unconscious self. Squares Mercury. I guess we're going to go into it. This happens on Friday, but the energy is already going to be there starting on Wednesday. So we're already in it, right? Mercury shifts into Taurus and is already in that square. It just peaks on Friday. So this energy will be there too. So we've got mother stuff, we've got father stuff, we've got inner child stuff. So this is like the shadowy part, but don't think shadow bad. Think shadow opportunity. Don't think trigger bad, think trigger opportunity. This is a week of opportunities, even in the crunchy stuff. So when you get crunchy stuff, you get triggery stuff, you get like, oh no, not this old chestnut again, right? Like, come on, you gotta be kidding me. I thought I did this work. I thought I healed this thing. Like, come on. No, go like, perfect. This is so perfect. This week is a week of perfection. Perfection. Everything is delivered to you on a silver platter. It is so crazy perfect. Crazy, crazy, crazy perfect. And if you treated it that way this week and you just went, and this too is perfect. Like my dog was so fucking sick this weekend. Y'all, this is the week. This is ReWilding week. This is the ReWilding challenge. We are crazy, wildly going full out in the back end of ReWilding. Team ReWilding is going off the charts preparing all this stuff. To be able to hold this thousands and thousands and thousands of people challenge, right? And it's stunning, and it's glorious, and we love it. My dog gets sick this weekend. But instead of like, woe is me, or like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, horrible timing, it was like, and this too is perfect. This is delivered on a silver platter. This is so perfect. This is so perfect. This is so perfect. What is this showing me? What is this arising? What is this unfolding? And it's not even necessarily that I need to know. You may not need to comprehend it in the moment, but if we can just go, this is somehow orchestrating the most perfect thread weaving of everything. It's moving me into a different state. It's moving everything into a different state, and it's orchestrating this like divinely woven, intricate perfection thing. So don't let the challenging stuff throw you off. Let the challenging stuff, it is part of the tapestry. It's part of your perfection tapestry of life. And that's happening all the time, P.S. But this week, let's just hold it to this week, because sometimes our brains can't like hold that for like, oh my God, the whole time. This week, everything is delivered on a silver platter. It is extra beautiful. Right? It's extra benevolent. It's extra expansive. So the things that are being delivered on a silver platter, by the way, they're also fated and part of your soul purpose and part of your destiny. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that's what's happening on Sunday. So it's like the end of the week, Sunday, there's an exclamation point, and we're going to make this about your North Node. And everything this week is about your true North, your greatest path forward, your destiny. It's just too good. It's just too good. Let me talk a little bit more about what can be coming up around the unconscious realms and I love this because we have the conscious realm involved, right? Sun with Uranus, and we have the unconscious realm involved. Pluto, square Mercury. We've got Chiron. He brings up the unconscious, right? Deepest wounds, greatest wisdom. Deepest wounds, greatest wisdom. Feel into that. Chiron is wisdom. Chiron is wisdom. We have wisdom. We have wisdom from our wounds. There's wisdom from the ancestral line that we grew up in. There's wisdom there. You've gained wisdom in the healing of those wounds. You've gained wisdom in the acceptance of those things. You've gained wisdom so you can feel into that wisdom aspect. What is this wisdom aspect? How is this wisdom aspect a part of my destiny? How is this wisdom aspect a part of my greatest gifts? Because under our deepest wounds, sometimes reside our greatest gifts. I shouldn't say sometimes. Some of our greatest gifts reside under our deepest wounds. Some of our greatest gifts reside under our deepest wounds. Feel into that one more time. Some of our greatest gifts reside under our deepest wounds. Some of our greatest gifts reside under our deepest wounds. I'll share this one with you as just an example. When I was doing a lot of archetypal embodiment with Chiron for myself personally, what I came up against was deepest wound, I have no boundaries. Deepest wound, I'm crazy empathic. Deepest wound, I'm so fucking sensitive. Deepest wound, I can literally embody any energy, anywhere, anytime, whether that's in a person, whether that's an archetypal energy, whether that's the electricity, whether that's the wind or the sun or the rain. And that was an extraordinary wound for me because I had no consciousness of it. I wasn't aware of it. I just got blown over. I got blasted by everything all of the time. When I was a kid, I had allergies, I had asthma, because that was my only way of like removing myself from a situation, was to get sick. So I would get sick because I was so overwhelmed with so much energy in my environment, because I would just embody it. I would just become it, and it would just overwhelm my system, right? Wound. Wound for a really good part of my life. Wound. I couldn't even be in intimate relationships because I would like sleep next to someone. I would just dream their dreams. I would just become them. I completely lose myself, right? It's my greatest gift. It's one of my greatest gifts. So you can also feel like the curse, this helps us to kind of feel into some of this chironic stuff, is the curse is the blessing. The curse is the blessing. Like, what do you feel like you're cursed with? And then go, how is this actually a blessing? How is this a gift? And can I lean more into the wisdom side of this, right? My wisdom side of this is I get to do this with you all. I get to facilitate in the way that I get to facilitate. I get to work with all these transmissions and activations. I get to work with all these archetypes. I get to share them with you all. This is my work in the world. ReWilding is my work in the world. These archetypal activations that we're bringing through in this challenge and in this whole new body of work, this archetypal embodiment, this archetypal alchemy, this whole new body of work that's coming in, there's no way that I could do it if I didn't have this wounding. It's the wisdom of it. It's one of the greatest gifts that I have. It's one of the greatest gifts that I can give the world, but I had to work through the wounding to get to the wisdom of it, right? So just an example, tiny example, and something, hopefully, I only share that because hopefully it gives you a way to feel into your own life, your own woundings and wisdom that reside there. Amazing week for uncovering that, partially because we're now out of that Mercury retrograde, which was so very much about this. And the eclipse season was all chironic. It's all crazy chironic. So love that this is still a part of it, but lean toward the wisdom. Again, like keep leaning toward the benevolence, keep leaning toward the grace, keep leaning toward the miraculous. Keep leaning toward the miraculous this week. Instead of getting stuck and bogged down, woe is me, oh my God, wounded, blah, 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 blah. Miraculous. Don't deny it. Let it be there, but take it to the miraculous. Miraculous healing, miraculous expression of the wisdom, miraculous unfoldings, miraculous awakenings. So good. All right. Let me feel. One other thing that I do want to share, because y'all know I got to talk about the feminine. Pallas Athena, she's the warrior goddess. Pallas Athena is retrograde. She's moving into Scorpio. So it's like the feminine warrior in us goes deeper. Scorpio is the sign of the unconscious. So we've been talking about this unconscious, right? Pluto, we talked about him, the unconscious. The conscious self is like Monday, the sun, conjunct Uranus, right? The great awakener with the conscious self and also the unconscious self. And so the feminine warrior, feel into that for yourself. What does that mean for you? The feminine warrior goes a little deeper. She goes a little bit deeper. She goes a little bit more into, could also be a little bit more into power, could also be a little bit more into sexuality, a little bit more into the taboo, a little bit more into that. So the feminine warrior starts to like fight for like the seemingly underground things, the power things, could be sexuality, could be like what society deems as, I don't know, as taboo. Like, so the feminine warrior can start to fight against society's belief systems a bit with that. But you feel into how that feels for you and what bubbles up for you. Also, Black Moon Lilith is quincunx to Eris. This is Thursday, but the energy again is kind of happening the whole time. So that's dark goddess. That's dark goddess energy. What does dark goddess energy mean? It's fierce feminine. It's like deep sacred feminine. Deep Sacred Feminine. If you're in membership, we worked with Deep Sacred Feminine on April 1st, like that, or May 1st. That workshop, that work holds this whole month, right? Deep Sacred Feminine is still super, super supportive of everything that's going on. Deep Sacred Feminine helps to heal. She can love the unlovable. That's an aspect of the dark feminine, of the dark mother, like dark mother, mother night. I can love the unlovable. The things that you can't love, I can love. I can love. I am great mother to all. I'm great mother to all. I don't want to go too far into that, but let me just feel specifically Black Moon Lilith and Eris. Eris brings this truth bombing. I mean, she's been a loud archetype for a year. And she's almost a feminine archetypal energy that's like an emerging archetype in the collective. So in the world, out in the world, you see Eris much more publicly. Like you see Eris on social media. And she's like the truth bomber. She will create chaos and discord to, it's like activism. I always feel Eris in what the college students are doing, right? Like all those rebellions, that's Eris, rebellions against rebellions against those who can't stand up for themselves. That's Eris. Like, I will fight for the truth for those who can't stand up for themselves. I will fight for the truth in myself of parts that I haven't been able to reveal. I will create chaos around parts that I haven't been able to speak, where I haven't been able to speak my truth. I'll create some chaos and discord so we get to the truth, right? Isn't that beautiful? That's amazing. Feel into that again. You might have to listen to that part again. Where we can't stand up for ourselves and we can't speak our own truth, Eris, or we, will unconsciously create chaos and discord to get to the truth. To get to the truth. It will create chaos and discord to get to the truth. All right, I'll leave you with that. All right, let's go on. I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to get to the 18th. It's about gosh darn time we get to the 18th. So this is Saturday. By the way, challenge starts on Friday. Challenge starts on Friday with that Mercury square Pluto. Again, this is so great this is the part I love about this. Mercury is the mind. Mercury is what we can comprehend and what we can understand. So for me, here's the opportunity and here's what the challenge is going to focus on. So maybe you come do the challenge with me, maybe do this on your own, but feel into this. So it's like the mind, what we comprehend and understand, gets to go into the underworld, Pluto, Hades, right? Keeper of the underworld, into this territory. And what I would invite us to aim for, because this is week of benevolent, week of miraculous, week of expansion, week of the good shit, is to go in and look at golden shadow. So hold yourself tightly to the miraculous, and you're going into the underworld, because the underworld doesn't just hold triggery, gooey stuff, gotta heal this stuff, gotta blah, 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 right? Go in and look for golden shadow. What are the potentials in myself that are unrealized? What are the potentials in myself that are unrealized? It's the golden shadow. If you don't know what that is, Google golden shadow or just sign up for the challenge, right? You'll just explore it. But it's going in and it's what are the gifts? What is the wisdom? What are my own potentials that I have not woken up to? It was like me sharing with you about Chiron. Had I not gone in there, I would have never been able to do what I do in ReWilding. I would have never founded ReWilding. I wouldn't be here with you. I wouldn't be doing this. I would still be teaching public speaking skills, or I would still be thinking about going to medical school, or I would still be a chemist, or I was, one of those jobs I had way back when. I wouldn't be here with you. It was a potential, but it was residing in the unconscious until it was ready to reveal itself. And so that's the work on Friday. That's the work on Friday, is what is ready to reveal itself. And sometimes our greatest gifts are more scary than our deepest wounds. Sometimes your greatest potential is scarier. Realizing the gifts that you have is scarier. Realizing the potentials that you have and what your soul actually knows, wants to do, has come into this world with, is longing and craving for, and how much incredible power and wisdom is there, is scarier. That's why it's in the shadow. We keep it in the shadow. We're more terrified of our potential than we are of failing. We're more terrified of our great power, of our great amazingness, of our greatest gifts, of our greatest potentials. We're more terrified of that than we are of failing. Feel into that. Do some of that on Friday. Do some of that on Friday. That's an amazing way to kick off the challenge, y'all. Like, I am crazy excited that that's how we get to kick off this challenge. Okay, so then on Saturday, this is the day that I said is really benevolent, possibly like the best astrology of the whole year. You feel into what feels true for you, but this is when the sun conjuncts Jupiter. So remember, on Monday, the sun was conjunct Uranus. Remember, we had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, shake up to wake up, like huge benevolent, great expansion, a lot of growth happened, but it didn't really feel super comfortable for most people when that happened. I don't even remember what date it was. I want to say it was like April, blah, blah. Don't know exactly. I won't know numbers in my head while I'm communicating with you this way, unless I have them written down. But you can look that up. Look up like Uranus-Jupiter conjunction, April of 2024. It just happened. Okay, so let me go back to this. So sun is that conscious part of self, was conjunct Uranus. Now it's conjunct Jupiter. I mean, this is now like conscious self. And Jupiter is grace bomb of all grace bombs. It is like the lucky horseshoe up your butt, right? So, and it's in Taurus. This is like embodied, grounded in the physical. I mean, this could be like physical healings, miraculous things happening in our physical bodies, in our lives, grounded, anchored in a way that blows our, I want to say beyond the mind, right? It blows our minds. What's possible here. So this is the leaning into the miraculous. So Saturday is conscious self aligns with that expansive, growth-filled, grace-bombing, benevolent Jupiter. This is so good. This is so good. It's like, again, we have the opportunity to make it manifest. Make it manifest. So I would say here's the little warning sign around this. Is we can get so carried off into Jupiter goodness that we don't ground it in. And so what we want to do on Saturday is we want to really ground in the goodness. And you can do that with your own practices, however you're feeling to ground in the goodness, or come to the challenge, because we are certainly going to be working on grounding in the goodness on Saturday. There ain't no way around that. That is the greatest thing we can all be doing, is grounding in the goodness, right? So think embodiment practices, think bringing it in. So it's not just in the mind and you're thinking it. You want to bring it down through the throat. You want to bring it through the heart, through the solar plexus power center, through the sexual center, down into the root, right? The whole way down. Ground in the goodness the whole way down, through the whole of the body, through the whole of your life. That's where the real change happens. That's where shit gets really good, right? That's where we start to make magic happen in the tangible physical world instead of just fucking daydreaming about it. All right, so that's Saturday. Saturday's also got this I love. This is the other grace bomb, right? So it's two grace bombs on the 18th. Venus is now conjunct Uranus. So remember, on Monday, the sun was conjunct Uranus. Now it's Venus conjunct Uranus. And remember Venus, we talked about Venus, that feminine aspect of self. I said we were definitely going to work with Venus during this challenge, right? That pleasure, that joy, the love, relationships, radiance, feminine magnetism, right? And it's not, I'm not saying woman, I'm not saying gender even, right? But it's the feminine's mystical capacity to magnetize in. This is all about manifesting, right? But this is a genuine capacity. It's a genuine capacity of the sacred feminine. It's a genuine capacity of the feminine. And maybe that's one of the golden shadows waiting to wake up in you. Maybe that's one of the potentials waiting to wake up in you. Maybe you're terrified to be that magnetic. You ever thought about that? Maybe you're terrified to be that radiant. Isn't this crazy? Maybe not. Maybe you have nothing around that aspect, right? Maybe it's other things that will come up for you when we explore Golden Shadow on Friday, and then we explore this Venusian pleasure, love, joy. Maybe you have a pleasure cap. Some people have a pleasure cap. Like I can't go past this pleasure cap. I have a limit on pleasure. This is breakthrough. Maybe I have a cap on orgasms. I only have clitoral orgasms. Maybe it's time to blow that up, right? Because we all know, like, that's the sneeze of orgasms, right? There's the vaginal orgasm. There's the full body orgasm, right? There's the cervical, the all elusive, which is not all elusive. It's available for everyone, right? Cervical orgasm. And so maybe there's a pleasure cap. Maybe there's a miracle cap. Again, feeling into that word of breakthrough. Fuck it. Fuck these limits. Fuck these pleasure caps. Fuck these joy caps. Fuck these love caps. Fuck these relationship caps. Where did we get these boundaries and these barriers and these belief systems? This week is about blowing it up. It's about blowing it up. This ReWilding challenge is about blowing it up. Like blowing up the box. No, there is not a box. These limits are just ridiculous. These limits are ridiculous. And so that's Saturday. That's Saturday. Okay. I know that this is getting long and winded. So here, remember I mentioned earlier, there's an exclamation point on the week. So Sunday brings an exclamation point, and I love this exclamation point. And this is what aligns us with destiny. It aligns us with true north. And that point in our astrology chart, that point in the sky, is the north node. It's the north node. That's not where you came from. It's not where you're comfortable. It's where you're headed in this life. It's what you're growing into, you're evolving into. It's what you're working toward. It's what will light you up in this life. Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss. That's the north node. That's the north node. But it's not known. It's not comfortable, right? It's your greatest unfolding, greatest potential, greatest expression of self, truest expression of self in this life. The north node lines up with Mars. Sorry, I had to read that again because I'm like, wait, and Jupiter semi-square the north node, which is also happening, right? So again, back to this Jupiter piece. Jupiter's adding energy to this north node. So just know everything that's going on this week is in alignment with that I just talked about. That north node, that true north place, that greatest expression of self in this life, highest potentials unfolding, highest timelines, we can call it that. It's aligned with that. It's aligned with that. And Mars, come on. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Mars is warrior. I'm a warrior for your highest self. Mars, the warrior in you, right? I will take action and I will break through any barriers needed to take us to true north, to take us into highest potentials. It's so good, y'all. It's so good. So if you're ever a person who, let me feel. It's like, have all these dreams, but it never actually happens. Always wanted to start the business, but never do. Tell everyone that you want to do something, but it never happens. You want the great relationship, but you never get on the dating app. Imagine going back to school for the thing that you're super passionate about, but you never actually apply to school. This is where it happens. This is where the wind is at your back to make it happen. To bring it in. Again, it's about bringing it in. It's about manifesting it. It's about like making like deep, lasting, again, building for the long term. So this energy is about building for the long term too, right? It's not just like a flash in the pan, right? It's not just like, oh, quick, here's a great week, magic, awesome. No, it's like, here's a great week, magic, awesome. Build the rest of my life off of it, right? Like, it's lasting. It's built to last. That's what's going on. And it is stunning. And I don't want you to miss any of it. So I hope that this conversation helped. I really hope to see you in the challenge. Really and truly, if you're still feeling like you don't know, sign up, try it on Friday. Like, come to that live session on Friday or catch the replay. If you can't make it live, don't stress about it. We got replays coming for y'all for a couple days. But do the first session. Like, just commit to doing the first session. Cool. Friday sounds like a great day. Why the hell not? I'm busy on Friday. Okay, great. Do the replay on Saturday and just try it. See what happens. See what happens. If it's not for you, heck yeah. Like, super honor that. Super honor your path. But it might be the thing that helps you break through the thing, that helps you create the thing, call in the thing, manifest the thing, do the thing that lights you up, right? That like feels crazy soul fulfilling. All right, I love you all, and happy rewilding week, happy challenge week. I will see you all so much this week in the challenge. Details are below to sign up. Would love to see you in the comments if you feel to. Let me know if you're doing the challenge. I want to love bomb you. So the rewilding team and I, we want to kind of love bomb you in the comments just a little bit. If you're doing the challenge, or if you got anything else to say, let us know. I will be in there the first couple days after this video is out. Team will be in there. We're always in there, right? Join us in the Facebook group, but really and truly the greatest thing that you can do is to join the challenge, just to even give it a try and see what happens. Okay, I love you all, and I will see you where I see you, when I see you, and how I see you. Mwah.